Hey guys, do you know what time it is?
Time for season 3?
Time for season 3.
It's time for season 3. Welcome to amorephillyunion season 3, baby! Woo! We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
And it's so good to be back. Thanks for letting us take a little bit longer of a much needed winter's nap. But now we're well rested and we're ready to join you guys out there in the Unionverse. I don't know about, my two compatriots as well as everybody else out there, but we got a lot to catch up on, bring ourselves back up to speed. Before we jump into that, though, let's just touch base here with everybody. And how were your holidays? How was what you've been up to since last season? I mean, we've talked, but what do you got? What's worthy of note here?
Union-based or just in general?
Just us, the podcast, you guys.
Sounds like we were just unboxed.
I know, right? It just came out of cryogenic stasis.
Well, it was a good holiday. It was a real good holiday. Kind of quiet one, not a lot of travel required, and did a lot of time with the family and hang out with some friends.
Yeah,
it was a nice one.
Yeah. For those of you who didn't catch it, it was pretty exciting to be guests on the one team we agree on. That was a lot of fun.
That was
really was. Yeah.
Appreciate the opportunity to talk with Kyle and Jillian. And
that was in the early January, in case you want to go back and check it out.
So, what's that, Paul?
I said a couple weeks back on their podcast, but yeah, it was a nice chance to reach out to the other people in the Unionverse. It was nice of them to ask us.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I would also like to give a little shout out to our niece and Paul's daughter, Noelle, and I guess it's the entire family, for gifting us all hoodies.
Yeah, we got our own first amorephillyunion swag to wear.
Yeah, you guys can't see it.
From someone else.
I'm wearing mine.
From someone.
And it's an idea. We're kicking around. Maybe these will become publicly available. And if we do, we'll keep that posted with you all.
Does Noelle have to get a percentage now?
I'll just put it into our college fund.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, like I said, we got a lot to catch up on, a lot of stuff to kind of get up to speed on. It's been an interesting 2 months, I think, 2.5 months. We're going to jump into this, but feels like new territory here, right? This is like the team is substantially different. We got a new coach, we got some new players, we lost some players, a lot. We're going to talk about all of it. So we're trying to get our head wrapped around this. So let's do a quick recap of what's been going on with the team. Some of the stuff, this is old news, but let's just kind of weave the larger tapestry that is this union adventure we're on.
Well, I mean, I'll kick off just to share the wealth here. So, of course, we did talk about this before our break. Curtin's firing, departure, however you want to think of it. So we have already touched on that, but I think none of it. Well, I know I'm not over it. I don't want to speak for my co-hosts, but not over. I mean, our new coach, Bradley Carnell, seems like a lovely gentleman. But it's not about him. It's just about it's going to be a very different thing. And Jim was with us for 10 years, like we talked about. I know we've covered this. I don't want to beat it into the ground.
I'm not over it. I'm still dealing, I think.
He really set such a big part of the tone, and not all coaches do that, but he really did. And so it'll be big shoes to fill, I don't think.
There's a part of me that still thinks that Carnell is a rebound coach, but we'll see how things go. But yeah, I do agree. He's got big shoes to fill, and in some ways I don't envy him stepping in right now after we had 10 years of a hometown coach like Curtin.
Mm-hmm.
Bold move to bring a South African to Philly, two of the most loathed accents in the English language. in the same space. That should be make for an interesting season if nothing else does. But
I didn't realize, South Africa was ranked so low on the accent scale, but
his is not that strong.
yeah.
If you get a really strong South African accent, it can be difficult to parse, shall we say.
District 9 is still such a great movie. Just that's the
There it
first movie reference of the year. Just want to throw it out there. It's District 9. Possibly one of the most perfectly crafted, fun sci-fi action movies. Just going to say that.
You've probably not seen it, but you should. And I think we did reference it in another pod, but
it's okay if you don't like it.
That is premium.
What's that?
Neil Blomkamp just squeezing every last ounce of goodness out of that little budget that he had.
Such a great movie. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So if you meet Bradley Carnell, is that what your opening line's going to be? District 9 is such a great movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so Curtin, we have touched on it. Moving forward, I think one of the biggest things that from the off season, if we're sort of moving chronologically here, was mid-December. We had the double whammy of our beloved, or at least my beloved Allie, I think our beloved, re-signing for his 10th year on a one-year contract, which I think we were all a little pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, was not 100% certain that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And with Curtin getting axed, I'm like, all bets are off,
I felt like his protection might be gone. I wasn't sure what the relationship there was, but it felt that way. So I will say on a personal pod note that we did share his the announcement that he was coming back with like a little "We love you, Allie" kind of thing. I don't remember what we actually wrote, but he did write to us, and we all had a squee moment. I still remember where I was. What the little fence in front of my car looked like when I looked at my phone and saw that Allie had written us a note. So looking for a good year, Allie. We'll see you. We'll see you in the sands.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. But then the sad downside of that was, I believe it was the same day, was Jack Elliott departing for Chicago with the bold move of, at least from what I could see in my feed, announcing it before the union did, which you almost never see.
Yeah.
Outlets will do that, but the players usually don't. They usually wait until after. So I thought that said something to me. That he wanted to get out ahead of it and say what he had to say. I mean, not that what he said was worlds away. Yeah. No, from what others say, but there were little notes there of like, look, I would have liked to have stayed, but they weren't playing ball with me, basically.
Yeah.
No pun intended. And he just so I wish him well. We'll miss him for sure.
I was bummed by that. I know he was out of contract, but kind of like the Kai Wagner thing. I thought it's hopeful they were going to sign him. It did feel like last year, 2024. Jack had some mostly ups, but a couple downs. I was surprised by this. I thought we were going to keep him, but
I mean, he didn't score any own goals at least.
Yeah,
he kept lessness.
I mean, not to be snarky.
Much love to Jacob. Let me be clear. Much love to Jacob.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The deadliest catch. But
I feel like we have a clause for all of our deadliest catch. I just got it. I feel like we have a clause for all of our players. Like when they leave, they either have to go to Chicago, Cincinnati, or Houston, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah. So yeah, you're welcome again, Chicago.
Yeah, really.
But good luck, Jack.
Yeah.
Just not against the union.
Not against the union. It's always good luck, but not against us.
Yeah.
Then in just a few days later, the regular season schedule was announced.
Oh yeah.
And if you've followed our pod at all, you know that we are St. Louis fans as well. So this will be our first meetup with St. Louis. I believe it's March 22nd. I know it's right around E's birthday. So,
and when I heard the
we
news,
can get any of your cousins up here.
Yeah, when I heard the news that we were going to be playing St. Louis, there was already scuttlebutt out there that the Union were looking at Carnell as head coach. And man, as soon as it came out that we're going to be playing St. Louis for the first time this season, I'm like, oh, dollars to donuts. We're going to get Carnell as our head coach. We got it, right? I mean, the MLS writers, this is just low hanging fruit.
Right.
So we're going to, at that point, I should have, I don't know what the over under odds were in Vegas of us getting Carnell, but I should have thrown a fiver down on it. But anyway, I'm looking forward to playing St. Louis. It's gonna,
is that a home game for the
home
Union?
here in Philly? I already threw a text out to a couple of cousins like, hey, it's my birthday.
We were promised that they would come. Now,
we're not going to name names, but you know who you are. Names.
But I don't know that that's really going to happen, but we'll see.
And there's no pressure. I get it. But whatever does happen, we should
there's pressure.
We should make a wager with St. Louis, the folks out there. Just like, whenever we play Portland, I make bets with my friend James. It's just for breakfast. But we should do something like if the Union win, then they got to, I don't know, buy us cheesesteaks. And if the St. Louis wins, we'll get toasted ravioli or something. We'll make some muscatoli. Okay.
Really showing your STL cred.
I know, right? Yeah.
Man. Just throw some Provel cheese on top of that. And
there you go, right?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Paul's wincing.
It's not like pizza with Provel cheese on top.
Provel or Velveeta? Which one is it, guys?
It's on pizza. Velveeta. I would put Provel. I wouldn't put Velveeta on it.
Yeah, but just in general.
I wouldn't put Velveeta on a pizza, no. But if I had to have one or the other, Provel or Velveeta, I'd take Velveeta.
Yeah, I'd take
Provel's like too. Plastic. I mean, Velveeta's not much better, but at least it's...
All right, what do we got next?
New player alert. As of December 20th, center back Ian Glavinovic from Argentina, which I didn't know until I looked that up yesterday. Glavinovic, I didn't guess Argentina, but hey, who am I to say? Also from Newell's Old Boys, which is apparently an Argentinian.
Totally screams Argentinian.
Again,
right.
Yeah, I know. It takes a village. No, what am I trying to say? I don't know. It's a global melting pot here in Argentina, and that's a-okay with me. Also, interestingly, he is a U23 Argentinian international, which seems like a positive thing to me.
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, what is Argentina?
He's on a 1-year loan. It's a 1-year loan, not a full acquisition or trade or however you want to consider that. But
also, we had the debate with the one team about how to pronounce his last name, right? Glavinovic or Glavinovic or
as a someone of Eastern European background, my strategy is say it as quickly as possible. Get in, get out, and you're probably somewhere close.
There you go.
So Glavinovic is what I'm going with, and I do believe that's pretty close. But.
Yeah. Until somebody proves us wrong or sends out a pronunciation key or a sample, that's how we'll go with.
Yep. Let us know if we butchered it for sure.
That should just be the standard disclaimer for all of our podcasts.
So Jan or Ian, please let us know.
Yeah. We'll even bring you on. We'll get you one of these cool amorephillyunion hoodies.
Be happy to do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's our gift to you.
We're not above bribing. I mean, the Eagles are about to play the Chiefs. We're just talking.
I know. I feel like all this is just a preamble to talking about the Eagles. So
pretty
let's
go.
Much.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's. I was joking with E earlier that if anybody ever watched Schitt's Creek,
no, yeah.
when David opens his boutique, he keeps saying it's a soft launch. It's a soft launch. I feel like this is a soft launch for our podcast because we're launching it right before the Eagles go to the Super Bowl. So nobody's gonna care. But hey, we do.
Yep.
We do. and that's all that matters.
That's
So,
right.
So some big news next.
So
That's right.
new year, new coach. I do feel
Ooh.
like they held off through the holiday season to make this announcement. I'm sure they knew it well before,
Yeah.
but Bradley Carnell announced as a new Union coach, formerly of St. Louis City. And previous to that, from the Red Bulls coaching staff and served as interim when they were between coaches. I will say, for what it's worth, both our STL cousins and our friend, I should say, Mark, who we had on the pod last year, is a Red Bulls fan, independently, unbidden, reached out to us and said that we were lucky to get him, that they both really liked him. Obviously, in STL, he had a great first season. The second season was a bit rockier. And Mark from New York said that he would have rather see him stay as head coach instead of whoever it was that they chose. Forgive me, I don't keep track of Red Bulls coaches, but so I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of consternation around that, and we've already said what we said about Curtin, but I feel like that's not necessarily a bad sign.
I would say that Carnell's got a bit of a road to hoe here. He's he's being brought in after Curtin had it for 10 years, really set a standard.
Right.
A lot of people are in the Union verse are talking that this is Ernst's pick. How this team does now is going to directly reflect on both Carnell and Ernst as to whether or not this Union structure is possibly going to be successful. There's a lot of weight on his decisions, especially for a person who's supposed to be playing young players, who notoriously sometimes make bonehead decisions. The hope is that they make fewer bonehead decisions than they make, inspired decisions, because that also happens with young players. Because, as we've said before, they're too inexperienced to understand that they shouldn't try things, so they just try them, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But it does feel like this is Ernst's guy, and hopefully he lives up to what Ernst wants, and he gets the most out of these young players that he's going to have.
Yeah. I mean, listening to the Meet the Press first public
intro.
I mean, Carnell he was saying all the things that I agreed with. He was saying things I wanted to hear. It's kind of like I'm still processing the loss of Jim Curtin, and I find myself asking the question: if history was different, let's say we won MLS Cup or whatever, and Curtin is walking out the door on his own accord. He does the Jurgen Klopp thing. He announces that he's going to be leaving the club halfway through the season, or announce this is his last season with the club. Everyone rallies. They play their hearts out for him. He walks out the door, cue the music from, Officer and a Gentleman, and there he goes. And then if the front office turned around and said, okay, we brought in Bradley Carnell as the guy we want to succeed Jim Curtin, I'd be like, hey, I'm on board with that. But like I said, I think at the end of I think it was with the one team we agree on, it was like, I feel like right now, this is like mom brought home the new boyfriend. It's like, I kind of I'm sure he's a great guy, but yeah. So this is very technical soccer analysis I'm providing everybody here, but that's how. So anyway,
Eric also is just doing a great job keeping a straight face, as Christy and I are cracking up as I made the Bender from Breakfast Club's fist in the air movement.
Yeah.
When you were talking about swelling music at the end.
Yeah.
I was also between that and pulling out an officer and a gentleman.
Yeah, that was a cut.
Wow.
It's like, what's a movie where the guy's someone's leaving and some epic music is playing?
Yeah,
that's what popped into my head. So
that's true, but wow.
I know. Well,
I'll be honest. That's a reference I don't get. I don't know what music that is. I've never seen the movie Officer and a Gentleman.
Yeah. I'm looking to Nate to be able to back me up on this one, Nate. So
Eric gets it from The Simpsons, if I'm not mistaken, because they do reference it on The Simpsons. That's why you know it.
Yeah. Anyway, so And I say this truly, like I do like Carnell. I think, there's potential here, but kind of the one big question I have for him is tell me when I can start to believe that we're going to win MLS Cup. And I don't say that as a judgment. It's just right now, everything's up in the air. I only have so much emotional bandwidth here. It's like, if this is going to be a rebuilding year, then just tell me up front so I don't burn myself out.
Well, to that end, I think we have to be measured in our expectations. We have to, let them develop over the first 4 to 6 games through the season to see where they're going, and then get a better idea of where they're going to end up. Because Carnell is going to be changing the way these guys are training and the way they're coached and stuff like that. So we got to see how he does that, and then how they respond to it, and how they use his coaching on the field. Hopefully, we're just way too pessimistic or cautious, and they really respond and they step up. That's certainly a possibility.
Well, we'll go with that. Here's the cruel thing, though, that keeps going through my head. It's like, but look what Carnell did with St. Louis the very first year. This absolute, expansion team, first time in the league, and he wins the league or the division with them. I'm like, oh, it's so cruel because then like my brain's like, yeah, but like maybe I can hope. So. It's going to be part of the adventure this season.
It's going to be whatever it is, I was talking to Mark today and they're all jazzed, not necessarily Mark, but the fan base over at Red Bulls is all jazzed because they did so well this year and they're expecting the same thing this year. And we all know how that goes.
Yeah.
Past performance is not an indicator. Here's my thing that I can never fully remember, like you guys with the equation. But
the success equation.
Yeah, but it'll well, who knows? We'll find out.
Yep.
So I just would like to note, and I think it's well known, but it still boggles the mind a little bit. This is going to be our 16th season, and this is only our 4th head coach.
Yeah,
which is kind of remarkable. I mean, and that's largely due to Curtin, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's really is
shifted the average there.
Yeah, really threw it off for everybody else. But that's pretty remarkable. It'd be interesting to see if that average starts to change.
Well, actually, real quick, one thing I would add on to that, I was looking up on Wikipedia or something like that, just the Philadelphia Union. And our head coaches. And so both Peter Novak, coach number 1, and then John Hackworth, coach number 2, both served about a similar tenure in terms of the number of games played. Curtin obviously kind of outpaces all of them with his many years. But in terms of win percentages, now this might have been across all competitions. Peter Novak has the lowest win percentage. John Hackworth was a little bit higher than him. And then again, credit to Curtin with 5 times or however many more games he was the head coach for the Union. He managed a higher win percentage. I think it was like 40 something percent. I forget, but I double checked it with against Alex Ferguson, and no, Ferguson is just the man is just inhuman. But anyway.
Yeah, but it's different in the there's a lot less parity in the Premier League than there is in MLS.
Yeah.
But I was also going to say, I mean, one of the stats that the Union loved to throw around was over the last 4 or 5 years, nobody had earned more points or something like that than the Union had over the course of the regular season.
Yeah.
A lot of some of that goes to Curtin and his coaching. Absolutely. I'm curious to see where Carnell goes, and hopefully, if we do have a first season of St. Louis response this year, we have a better luck in the playoffs rather than going out in the first round.
Yeah.
But winning the East would certainly be a big step forward for the club.
Yeah. Well, we can talk more about what we went out of the season.
Well, just moving along somewhat chronologically here. I don't know when this actually happened, but it was on social media around January 16th that Jesus Bueno, or Choo Choo,
Choo-choo.
has officially succeeded Jose Martinez at the number 8 position. And Martinez actually wrote a little message to him, kind of handing off the proverbial, I don't know, armband, I guess, number,
Yeah.
giving him his blessing.
Yeah.
So, which I found just kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah,
I don't, how
I've
many of
got
you
to
are
imagine.
versed in what like number 8 means? I looked it up. This is according to yoursoccerhome.com. I know that I knew it had a meaning. I knew it has a significance. I have, as I've said before, not actually played soccer. I am just a fan. But traditionally a box-to-box midfielder, plays in central midfield, um, participates in both defending and attacking for the team, taking shots on goal. A high energy position requires a high level of stamina. See picture of Jose Martinez next to this, basically.
You are one of the
So
motors
just
for the team there.
for anyone who happens to be uninitiated, I know a lot of you probably knew that already, but yeah. So thoughts on that? Any?
First thought is I think it's because Bueno took the number 8 in the team rather than become playing as a number 8. I mean, Bueno does play as that box-to-box midfielder position. So I'm going to actually just pull it up while we're chatting here about this and see if he actually did pull that number. Yeah, he's actually wearing the number 8 this year, and that might have been what Martinez wore when he left. But yeah, typically you're right. That number 8 is that box to box, high stamina. Arguably, Martinez is more of a 6, which is a defensive midfield position, meaning that they favor the defensive side of the game.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with
with
that.
the bigger passes. But yeah, no, I thought that was cool. I mean, it's nice to see that Martinez and Bueno still have that connection as Venezuelan midfielders. I'm sure they're going to see each other on the Venezuela national team from time to time, which will be cool. And it's also nice to see that Martinez is still playing at a high level for Corinthians in Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely.
And getting the actual to wear the number 8 on the jersey is kind of like a little bit of an imprimatur from Martinez. So it's kind of like he has his blessing. So it's like
Yep.
I really am hopeful that Bueno really steps into that role now and makes it his own, Man, Martinez, I really enjoyed having him, but I am looking forward to see Bueno take that position and make it his own.
Absolutely. I still miss my
very
favorite
cool.
Leo.
Yeah. Oh, good old Martinez.
Yeah. So
Crazy to think Martinez is going to be 26 this year, or turning 26 years old this year.
Good God.
Yeah.
Yikes. I have a dress older than him. Anyway, okay, so with that sobering thought, we are back. As of January 28th, it was announced we are back in Open Cup.
Yeah, this is something.
So apparently there were peace talks. I'm only half kidding. One of the articles I was, perusing, did say there were some negotiations, peace talks, however you would think of it, after the whole sort of dust up last year about no, we're only sending our second teams. I mean, there's a lot to this too, right? Because they're doing Leagues Cup differently this year, a little differently. So because we finished 12th, they're only taking the top 9 teams from each conference, if I'm not mistaken. So we don't qualify for that. So there's a couple things going on here. But we were back in Open Cup. And apparently I wasn't the only fan who kind of prefers Open Cup just as a concept, forgetting about the money and that kind of thing. There was quite a bit of outcry about that, and we do remember, of course, the Sons of Ben did their "We Want the Cup," the Open Cup thing that they did right around, I believe it was around the 4th of July last year, and they did that. But yeah, back in it this year. I guess we'll see what happens and how long we last and all of that kind of stuff. What goes on. So there's that, and then there is also this season there is a cap on the number of, I guess, I don't know how we want to phrase it, side tournaments.
Oh, really?
Non-league tournaments, yeah, two per season, I guess. that you can be in. I assume that, most teams, I don't know that anybody will be turning anything down. I don't know if that, but there was a lot of complaint from the players about
Yeah.
being overworked,
Yeah.
and also just other things at work there. Scheduling, I'm sure, was nightmarish. And I'm sure there's a lot happening, but what are you guys' thoughts on that?
So
We
that's
didn't.
just so I understand. So it's like, okay, we qualify for Champions League, we qualify for Champions Cup, and we also can be an Open Cup. We have to pick two of those three.
That's
Okay.
my understanding. Yes.
I'm cool with it. I mean, there's the if you don't want to be in if you don't want to be in a tournament, then just bow out of it, But I don't like that because there might be a team that wants to be in it and they couldn't because they didn't qualify high enough. Um, so I don't know, actually. I mean, as a player, I gotta imagine some of those players like, can we just limit it to one tournament outside of the regular league? Because
Right.
some
Mm-hmm.
of these, especially if you go the distance, oh my gosh, it's so much.
Or if they have
With
to travel.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 100%. And with constantly more teams coming into the league, and we have that season creep where it just starts earlier and runs later every year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, soccer's starting to look more like baseball.
It's a longer season than
Yeah,
baseball
yeah,
from start to end. Not
mm,
number of games total, but yeah.
yeah. Now, what do you think,
And
Paul?
it's also very confusing for the casual fan too,
Mm,
because
Yes.
I know I did not understand when I first started following this. I didn't understand what all these different cups were. And just talking to people who go because their kids like soccer or play soccer, and they were like, "Oh, we'll just go to this union game." They're like, well, "What is this? Why are they
hmm
playing a team, from wherever, or why aren't they playing?" And it's like, well, this is a different kind of
Right.
game. This is a yeah. So, I mean, that's a lesser issue, but it is a another thing to
Yeah.
consider.
I do think it was interesting, and I think it was one team we agree on this week that Jillian made a point. It's like, okay, we're back in the Open Cup, so all you people who wanted us to be in the Open Cup, make sure you go buy your tickets.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, good point. Good point. And I was
you
one of
know,
those people, so I guess I got to go buy my tickets.
Well, and
no,
one of the articles I read said that, I believe it was, I don't know, one of the last matches we were in, the Open Cup, blah, blah, blah. There were 7,000 people there. And what the stadium holds about somewhere between
18.
18 and 19.
Hmm
Yeah, it's
So,
18 plus.
yeah. So, that's the article I read, not written by Jillian, but like minds, great minds, I guess, kind of said the same thing. Like, okay, you wanted
Yep.
it back, you better go.
Yeah,
In defense of the fans, they are often on weird nights,
they
like
are.
Tuesdays and
Yeah.
Wednesdays. And I know, like we're farther away. I mean, Paul, you're not right around the corner either, so
Nope.
it's not necessarily the easiest, and especially depending on what your work schedule is, if you have to travel or anything like that. But excuses, I guess. But yeah, if hopefully there'll be a good Sons of Ben turnout, if nothing else.
I do know that at least the first Open Cup game is part one of the bonus matches of all of the season ticket holders for
Okay.
this year.
Okay.
And they do tend to be a little bit discounted the first few rounds. And it's one of those things that when the games become more, I hate to say valuable or
Mm-hmm.
more more contested,
Yeah.
that's where you start to see more fans showing up.
Yep.
Mm.
And I will definitely say that some of the best atmospheres ever at Subaru
Yeah.
Park were those U.S. Open Cup finals.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean, it
my
gets
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
loud down there,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it's really worth going to see. So hopefully we get some good matches early, and they're decisive Union victories, and it's a party in the stands, and people will want to show up for those sorts of games.
Right.
I mean, one thing about it is if the Union are hosting them and they're lower seeded teams, it's probably going to be a good game to go watch the Union get a win,
Yeah.
and that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad that they're back in the Open Cup.
Yeah, me
Uh,
too.
I'm sorry that they didn't qualify for any of the other ones. I know that I think they come with more prize money for the players, but
Mm-hmm.
You know, the romantic in me does like the Open Cup for that, just that history that it has.
Of the cup itself, and then Pennsylvania has a pretty strong history
Yep.
with Bethlehem Steel, and then some
Hmm.
other teams from, I
Yep.
believe, from the Philadelphia area. Um, so yeah, so it'd be nice. Be nice to make a good showing. But
Absolutely.
that brings us to this week, and it's only Wednesday, guys, and lots of stuff happening. Um,
This
so it was
this
announced informally over the weekend, but it's formally on Monday. That Jack McGlynn
ugh.
was traded to Houston Dynamo, which I think we were all a little bit like, huh?
Yeah, I
Okay.
this was a little bit of a gut punch. I mean, I expect these players to move on to bigger and better things 100%, but not now. Like I just was not expecting this, and I'm happy for him, but I'm sad to see him go.
Mark from New York texted me and said, what are they doing down there?"
It felt like a fire sale when that came out. I'm like, what's going on? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm actually okay with this.
Okay.
Um, like, don't get me,
Blasphemer!
yeah, I know. Don't get me
No,
wrong. I
I
love,
don't know what I
No,
feel about it. So I'd like to hear. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
yeah, I like Jack McGlynn. No, let's be honest. I
Sure.
really like watching him play. I think he's an amazing player. I think he's a really great teammate. I think he's got a lot of amazing skill. That we talked to, what was it, the cultured left foot, or
that
whatever.
Dempseyan way of playing.
And he's great to have on the team. He's got a bit of attitude to his game. He's
Yeah,
still developing. He's coming into his
some
own.
quiet sass.
But I don't think his style of play fit the Union. I think
Interesting.
um, I mean, I listen to a bunch of other podcasts, and I do think that he would work best at a deeper lying midfield position rather than that number 8 type position on the left hand side where the Union were playing him. So in a 4-2-3-1, it makes a lot of sense to have a player like Jack McGlynn there who can ping the ball pretty much anywhere in the field and put it on a dime. And I do understand that that's the kind of formation that Houston is going to play. So, like, I think this is a good move for Jack. He's going to get onto a team
Yeah.
that can use a player like him. That's going to put him in a position to be very successful and to hopefully help the team do well, except for when they face the Union, obviously. Um, and ultimately then, as far as the money side of things, I mean, the Union are guaranteed 2.1 million. This is a change this year.
Yeah.
This wasn't a trade. This was a straight up transfer. Where they literally sent money back, not GAM, not TAM, none of the funny money that the MLS uses, but straight up money. This is a new thing that started this year, with some changes to the collective bargaining agreement with the players, and the Union are guaranteed 2.1 million. They have, depending upon certain performance results
Metrics.
from,
Yeah.
yeah, they could get, I think, 1.3 more. So
Yeah.
that if he were to hit all of that, and then they get a 50% sell-on clause. So, if Jack goes to Houston, has an amazing couple of seasons, and ends up getting sold for $8 to $12 million, the Union are going to get half of that. Now, I know that there's some, because of where Jack was born, they actually technically only get like 60% of whatever that money that comes to the Union, because like there's some weird Byzantine rules about locale, and basically the Union have to pay New York Red Bulls and NYCFC like 20% of whatever, or 40% of whatever they get for Jack, they have to pay to those two clubs. I don't
Wait,
understand,
why is that? I don't.
because I think Jack is actually originally from either the North Jersey or the New York City metro area,
New York.
but
Yeah.
Did he
he
play in their
became,
systems?
no, but he went through the Union's academy, and because of that, the Union owe money to. I see your
I,
face. I see
this
your
is
face, and it doesn't make any sense, but
makes
it's
no
just a
sense.
Byzantine bit of rule making that they've had for years, and that's just the way it is. So
It's protection money. That's what they're paying. They're paying projection money.
Yeah.
Gee, your soccer club looks awful flammable. Be a real shame for you not to have fire protection.
You better have the money by 5 o'clock. What happens at 5 o'clock? I don't know. I'm not psychic. Just make sure you get the money. Yeah, because when I saw it, I mean, this was one of the impressive things about this trade. Like Jack McGlynn, just 2.1 million cash. Like,
Yep.
Like that is kudos to Jack for that.
Yep.
And I do feel like this is kind of slightly what's it called? Enabling for Tanner, because Jack is one of the shining stars of our academy program, and we just traded him for 2.1 million. So this is going to reinforce Tanner. Like, see, my method works. I just netted us a couple cold millions. I don't know, but still, I mean, that's not to take away from Jack.
Yeah,
that is, he's worth that money. He's absolutely worth that money. This weird archaic thing that we got to pay New York. It's like, yeah. Come and get it from us.
That is complex. I mean, it sounds like
come and get it.
Yeah.
You want my 20%? Cold dead hands.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well,
no, I mean, I do think that this is going to be good for Jack. I think he's going to be in a position to be more successful on the field than he was already, because he was pretty much an assassin for us last year.
Yeah.
And it'll be really exciting to see how he grows here. I'm don't get me wrong. I would love to see all the players that come up out of the Union Academy stay here and play their entire careers here and have huge careers. I know that's not going to happen, and so I'm okay with him moving on. He's a player who's got a huge upside, and he just doesn't quite fit the Union style of play, in my opinion.
Well, shout out to Tie Your Shoes photo on Instagram, who had similar things to say to what you're saying, Paul. Felt that he'd be a better fit for Houston. Good. That it was a good deal all around, sort of. So shout out there, and just reached out to kind of share their thoughts. I was a little surprised going through the social media and the marketing materials and stuff that they've put out during our break. No, we have Union. Right. I mean, it felt like every third post was something with Jack.
Oh,
yeah. So I was a little surprised by that. Not that that means anything, but it was strange how much they featured him for someone. If they had, designs on moving him, I was a little surprised he was featured that much. But then again, he was getting called up to the U.S. team and all that kind of thing. So they don't want to tip their hand, and there's a lot of.
He looked really good in that January camp for the U.S. national team. He had that assist and that goal in that one game. He's been playing really well. Possibly, maybe some of that social media and the marketing stuff might have been there to drum up some interest in him and to raise his price.
Maybe.
There were rumors that there were offers from overseas, but none of them were as good as the one that came from Houston. And while I'm not crazy about us selling within MLS, at least it was to the other conference, so we won't see him with them.
True. Yeah, it's following the Fafa Pico route here.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Paul. Like it's like the Aronson expectation. Like we get these really good young guys. They serve us well for a couple of years, but I kind of expect them they stayed in the league. I was kind of hoping he'd go abroad or whatever. But I mean,
sure.
Maybe it's a testament to the league. I'm sure they got some inquiries from abroad, and Houston, I guess, their pockets went deep enough that we want this guy. So but good luck to Jack.
It wasn't one of those where I was upset. I was more surprised. I just didn't see it coming. But
I mean, I knew it was going to happen someday. I thought we'd get it. No, we'd have a little more time.
Yeah. So
now, to be clear, Jack he's turning 22 this year in July.
Wow.
So, the chances are he's still got a good opportunity to grow his reputation and get a good offer overseas.
Oh yeah, plenty of time.
One of the bigger
leagues. Time. Yeah, and maybe that's maybe that's Houston's game, right?
Yeah, I that's why I was saying I think like it's a better position for him to play on the field. He'll have better stats because of it, and probably get even more interest instead of a second tier Italian team. Maybe it'll be a first tier Italian team that'll come looking for him. No, it is sad though. I mean, let me be clear.
Yeah.
I am sad to see him go. He's a great player, and he was a great addition to the team. I really liked watching him play, and we joked about the term "cultured left foot," but he really did show a lot with what he
Yeah.
could do on the
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah.
With yesterday and today, two new players signed. So Neil Pierre from Union 2,
Mhm.
who is the brother of forward Nelson Pierre. We don't. And then today, well, not as we record, but earlier today, prior to recording, completed transfer of Serbian midfielder. Here we go. Jovan Lukic. Lukic? Lukic.
Lukic.
I said say it fast and I didn't follow my own rules.
Follow my
Dang
advice.
it. Dang it. Sorry, but we'll get that right eventually, partway through the season. So the phrasing was strange. Permanent transfer through 2026 with club options for 2027 and 2028. I don't know. It's found that to be strange, but
Paul, can you clarify? You're
So
a
yeah,
technical guy.
they bought his contract, which I guess it's through this year and next year, and then they have options for 2 more years. If the club likes the way he's playing, they can keep him on an agreed upon, but for an agreed upon salary for 2027 and 2028.
Okay. And he comes from this Serbian Superliga, which is their top league. So
Now I haven't done a whole lot of research on him. But from what I have heard, it sounds like he's more of a defensive midfield position kind of a player. So kind of a like for like trade fill in for Martinez. Not really a McGlynn, not really somebody to fill in for McGlynn. So it'll be interesting. It looks like Carnell is reloading the midfield a bit with some people overseas, some players from the youth group that he's going to have some options there. It'll be interesting to see how he uses them.
I'm looking to see if he's a Leo.
So we can get both Lukic and Glavinovic on the.
He is not.
He's
not a Leo.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you can't
No one's
be
perfect.
That's
Yeah.
right. So that's breaking news that you all have heard by now. Certainly. But moves being made. So I mean, we would absolutely love to hear what you have to say. So we'll be talking about our socials and all that kind of stuff later, but feel free to reach out to us because that's a lot that we just ran through. And it's been both a lot and not a lot on during the off season. So definitely let us know what you think about some of these moves and yeah.
So I don't know if it's too early. I mean, we're coming up on an hour here, but I don't know. Where are you guys at in terms of the team and the season coming up? I mean, we still got a little bit of time before kickoff, but I don't know.
Not that much. It's only 17 days away.
Yeah, like
God.
less than 3 weeks.
22nd. We're 2.5 weeks away from the start of the season.
Yikes. Wait, are you asking for? Oh my God, you're not asking for predictions.
No, not predictions. I mean, just how you're feeling.
How you
For
feeling?
me, it's like I'm not sure. I mean, I know I'm overreacting. I know I am, but it's like I feel like this team is like I don't know who this team is. It's like I'm meeting a new team now all over. It's like Philly, 100% loyal. Season ticket holder, all that good stuff. But just like emotionally, it just feels like starting from like both emotionally and like programmically, we are starting from scratch this season.
Yes and no. I mean, we have a lot of returning players. We did have some players shift. So I am cautiously optimistic at this point that, I mean, Carnell has a decent history as a coach.
Sure.
Although looking at his overall record as a St. Louis head coach. He actually had a losing record. So, sorry.
That second year must have been a doozy.
Yeah. There's a reason why he was let go.
Yeah.
And so, it's like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic that there's a good amount of skill coming back. It looks like they're picking up some players with Glavinovich and Lukovic. That hopefully they're going to be able to contribute. Hopefully, some of the players who have been in the system for a few years will get some opportunities to play. I haven't seen any of the preseason games. It's hard to tell when they don't show them, and we can't
Yeah.
watch them unless you're watching them live. I understand, like you could watch them live, but if you're not available to watch them during regular working hours, and you can't see the game, so like I don't know that I'm really going to get a chance to see the team play until the Orlando game to start the season. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess the best I can say is I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. I don't feel as alienated from the team as I thought I would with Curtin gone. I guess it'll be super weird the first time we watch a game. It'll be super weird the first time we go to a game. And then I have a feeling it's going to be whatever it is. I don't feel like, as much as I still lament his Curtin's departure, I don't feel like it's uh there were seasons early on where I really felt like I don't know who any of these guys are.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, they're wearing the uniform of my team, but I don't feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't really have attachments to any of them in real life, but you make these mental attachments, right? You decide you like somebody for some reason, or the way they play, or
Mhm.
the way they act, or something. And you get familiar with them in your head. And I still feel like I have that. I mean, probably Allie's saying is
Sure. Yeah.
honestly, that's probably say it like my lifeline at this point, if we're honest. But like, just yeah, I mean, I look, last year was such a freaking disappointment. That and yeah, this year, who I mean, I can't even say there's nowhere to go, but because that's not necessarily true. But
But here, hold
but
my beer.
yeah, I mean, yeah, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens. Let's just go
Yeah.
in with as good an attitude as we can have, and let's see what happens. I think it is going to be a
She
rebuilding
is
year.
at the top of the roller coaster ride, and her arms are up, and she's ready to go wee and hope it doesn't crash.
If I weren't terrified of roller coasters, that would be perfect. What I actually do on roller coasters is just scream for somebody to come save me. But yeah. So, but no, your point stands, and it'll just be interesting. I think it'll be interesting. I think it is going to be. I know we have stayed away from terms like rebuilding and all that kind of stuff. It is going to be a rebuilding year. I think we're going to just have to throw stuff at the wall. We being not me at all, but the people who actually run the team,
Yeah, right.
and see what works, and hopefully somebody has a clue. And hopefully if money does need to be spent, it's spent and spent in the right places,
That's the perennial
rather
question.
than
Yeah.
just upping prices so that somebody gets a payment that we see no results from as fans. So I guess cautiously optimistic is where I land to, somewhere around there. I'm not, quite frankly, and I don't know if I actually said this on the pod. I needed the break. I did need this break that we took. I know a lot of pods keep going, but I don't know how you guys feel. But last season was rough. For just disappointing, and then just a lot of things. I don't know. It was just a hard one to get through somehow, and I think I needed that break. But now I'm looking forward to the season in a way I wouldn't have been if we had kept going through. I think I needed to walk away from it for a little bit and come back refreshed. So.
No, I agree with that. I think you're right. I think that was a huge shift with Curtin getting let go, and however they couched it, it was a shock. Especially since like 2 days beforehand, he had said he had hoped to be back. And it didn't look like that it was really going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was tough. I don't know. E, did you tell what your feelings are about this? Oh, you did. You were saying, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think what Christy said, I think one of the least things that Bradley Carnell could do is just have a really good season to make our little podcast that much easier to, you show up every week. It's the least he could do, right? Make it easy
Hey,
for
if he
us.
really wants to surprise us, he can show up, wearing a amorephillyunion hoodie that first game.
Note to
That's
self, send more amorephillyunion jersey. Oh my God. I can't talk. Hoodie.
That's funny because
Bradley Carnell.
we're not going to, but we talked about like, well, do you want to talk about what plans for the podcast? Like, no, we should just like we are going to get one of our hoodies to Bradley Carnell to have him wear just once, just to.
Yep.
So.
Sadly, we probably had a better chance with Curtin because he would wear not so much for pods and stuff like that, but he did wear like local designers things. So, but yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Darn, missed our shot.
Yeah.
Missed our shot.
Maybe you can get a hold of his dad on Instagram.
If he still follows me, I will see. maybe he bailed on me. I have to say,
dear Mr. Curtin. Your son.
Yeah, right.
So, Christy, do you want to talk about the Apple TV thing this season?
Yeah, it's been a while since we or more to the point, I had beef with Apple.
At war with Apple TV.
Yeah, and I don't really have it now, but there was an interesting.
Especially with Severance.
Well, I don't have a problem with Apple TV. Yeah, I am deep in the Severance, tinfoil hat club. But
that might be a sister podcast we start. But anyway, go ahead.
I don't. It's too much. That said, it was announced that Apple is kind of expanding their reach, and that basically they are joining forces with Comcast and DirecTV to have the games featured on both of those services on on channels there that basically you would add it on if you have Comcast or DirecTV. You can add it on like you would add an NFL or MLB or NHL package. Like you pay an extra fee, much like you do for the MLS package on Apple, but you no longer have to get it exclusively through Apple, which is really nice for people like Scoops. We were just talking about before, who does have DirecTV, but as I may have mentioned, doesn't have great internet and doesn't have access to great internet, and has almost no interest in Apple TV. Period. So, but DirecTV, adding that on as a package is a different beast, much easier to do. So I don't know. We have a variety of hypotheses as to why they're doing this. Mine is basically that perhaps they're just not getting the subscribers through Apple TV. People don't want to necessarily sign on for that service to see MLS, and this broadens their opportunities for exposure and kind of lessens the silo. It's still in a silo, but the silo doors are open a little wider now by adding it to Comcast and DirecTV. And they are also, at least on DirecTV, excuse me, I don't know about Comcast, but they are having the first 2 weeks on for free to kind of suck people in a little bit to the season and introduce them to that. So just an interesting kind of programming note in that.
Yeah. I think it's good. I mean, because the last year, 2 years, I don't know how long it's been, it was just exclusively Apple. I mean, every once in a while there would be, on a cable channel or something, but it just really, we talked about it, right? It kind of limits the field of people, the population of people that actually just, walk down the street, pop into a bar, unless they have Apple, you're not going to necessarily catch a MLS game. So, I think it's good in that respect. Kind of, the net is cast a little wider by pairing up like this. So, well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and those bars and public places are much more likely to add a package than they are to subscribe to Apple and turn that on. So, be interesting to see what happens with that. I think it's good for the league. too.
Yeah.
Just that exposure. I have never really loved the silo.
But now Silo is a good show on
I
Apple
know
TV.
you keep saying
Damn it.
Silo. I'm like, are you talking about the
I
show on Apple
forgot
TV?
all about that. I'm sorry. We
But-
always talk about silos at work. and no, I don't work in agriculture. But it's yeah.
But no,
Sorry.
I would say I would agree that I do think anything they can do to get more eyes on MLS games is a good thing. Hopefully, that is ultimately what they're trying to do. I'm sure Apple is making some money off of this for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm sure that they're trying to capitalize on the couple of years that Messi's still in the league and to try to draw some extra viewers. Get people interested in the league, and then hopefully they stick around if Messi either goes to another team or decides to retire. I think it would be. I think it's. I'm glad that it's happening. That people are going to be able. Anything that makes it easier to watch an MLS game is a good thing.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Well, we have a long season ahead of us, and this is
season three. Season 3.
We're looking forward to going through it with you, and we're grateful that you guys are joining us again for another exciting adventure that is Union Soccer. If you want to join in on the conversation, you can reach us at our website, amorephillyunion.com. Drop us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Right? Get the conversations going. You can contact us at pod@amorephillyunion. And on the social medias, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, Bluesky, Social. We are a More Philly Union. We haven't added much, I don't think anything to our Spotify playlist. It's still out there under a More Philly Union. So just search Spotify for that and look for the one with the little musical notes. But we'll be adding more to it this season.
That will change. Yes. And if you have any suggestions, if you're inspired by anything that happens throughout the season, do feel free to drop us that whatever platform, whatever method you prefer.
Yeah, we do. We actually do try to work it. Like, can we name one of our episodes after this suggestion? So, send them in. Hey, if we ever get these hoodies made, we should start giving them out to people. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, keep downloading our podcast. I mean, I guess we've been a little quiet, but we're jumping in a whole new season. Keep downloading our podcast where you get yours. And while you're at it, go show some love to one of our favorite forces for good in the world, and that is the Philadelphia Union Foundation. You can check them out at philadelphiaunionfoundation.org. All right, so thanks everyone for tuning in to our first episode of season 3 of A More Philly Union. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul. Go Birds!
Hey guys. Ah, shit. Okay, sorry. There we go. Sorry. All right, let's get those giggles out now. Okay. Hey guys. No, sorry. I dialed it down. Third time.
Third time's a charm.
Third time.